Welcome to Halloween Night Stories. I'm your host and narrator Colin. And how about we start getting into the stories? But now only one notice. The stories are not real. They're only made up stories, but try not to jump out of your skin. Oh, I've got my book of stories right over here, so how about we start? Story number one. There was once an old man in Italy, we'll call him Sir Jackson, who owned a vineyard in his garden. He also sold wine and he was very popular in Italy for that. Mr. Jackson lived with two of his granddaughters, Evelyn and Alice. Alice was from here in Italy and Evelyn was from the UK. But after their both parents passed away in a car accident, they decided that I would go live with his grandparent, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson was the old cranky man who lived in a big mansion. Mr. Jackson and his wife didn't have a good relationship. After his wife passed away, he was all alone and he was very, very sad. Economically, he had no other way but to live with the two girls. One night in 1961, he was very sick and called the two girls to go to the vineyard and go grab him 2 grapes. The girls reluctantly agreed and they went to the vineyard. There they decided to play, but didn't realize that it was getting very, very late. The two girls started running away, realizing of the thunderstorming and the scary, spooky feeling that they had. Evelyn was running towards the east, while Alice was heading towards the south. Evelyn suddenly trapped and went into a pit. She was very scared until a black shadowy figure was standing in front of her. She called desperately for help. Help me, please! But no response. Suddenly, the shadow figure started to bury her underneath the ground. And suddenly her breath stopped. And then Alice, very scared and concerned about what happened to Evelyn, started to scream, Evelyn, are you okay? But no response. Suddenly she tripped on a rock, and the shadow figure was standing in front of her. With a shovel, the black shadow figure spun and hit Alice in the head with the shovel. And Alice died. 10 years later, in 1971, Mr. Jackson was called out and questioning for what happened to the girls. After refusing to tell the truth to the police, he finally gave in and told the truth, that he was the one who killed Evelyn and Alice. He was very angry at himself that he did not have an enjoyable life, so he decided to kill both of them. His mansion, his vineyard, and all of his wine productions were closed. And nothing was heard from the two girls ever since. Story number 2. Only one more story to go. There was once a lovely couple. They were high school sweethearts and they loved each other a lot. The couple moved into the same house after college and they were very happy. But something weird happening to the girl. She kept getting calls and texts and messages. She was very angry and wanted to know what it was. So she opened her phone one night and saw one message. It said, come to the nearest park and I may not kill your boyfriend. The girl was very angry and she decided to go, not risking her boyfriend's life. She went there and sat on a bench, awaiting for whoever was that on the message. But nothing happened. Eternal silence blinded the park until she decided to go for a walk. Suddenly, a shadowy figure was standing in front of her, in front of a lamppost. A blazing, striking light from the lamppost struck over the shadow figure. The girl suddenly was scared, and she ran like crazy until a tree stopped her. The shadow figure pointed a machete at her face and, and forced the machete in her stomach. The girl passed away, and because the boyfriend was found out, he was very, very sad and committed suicide. And the couple was never heard from then since. Oh, and also one thing to note, the killer was never found. Not even till now. Story number 3. Let's hop on the last story of tonight's video. There was once a small boy who lived with his mother. They both lived in the same house, and they were very happy. Until one night in 2014, the boy was in bed watching the blazing fire from the fireplace burn scattered around the sky, around the ceiling. He was very happy until the fire ran out, and the thunderstorm struck around the house. He was very scared until the boy's mother started getting calls and overcalls, up until he whispered to his mom to wake up. The mom was fast asleep, so he didn't hear him. Suddenly, the phone stopped buzzing. A car rolled at the door. He was scared and hid under the blanket, wishing that he could do something, but no hope. A shadow figure, creepy shadow man-like figure, stand in front of the door. Very scared, the boy screamed for his mother, but nothing ever since. The shadow left, and the boy was kept haunted by the shadow until the shadow stopped haunting him. But the boy was never found. After he had one bad dream, he went into a coma. But he was traveling around the forest until he was never found. I hope you enjoyed my 3 stories, and I hope you didn't jump out of your skin. Enjoy this Halloween night and feel free to do whatever you want. Happy Halloween, and we shall meet next year.